So, on great demand, I have already interviewed Nadia, but the first time ever I am going to interview a son in law of mine. But he is here not just because he is my son in law, but because I have great respect and regard for Haaris Jalal. And he's a very brilliant person and very well qualified and all that. We're going to talk about some what are his qualifications, what are his hopes and fears, and all his what is his life all about. That's what we want to know. So we are going to welcome Haaris Jalal into my podcast, and thank you so much for giving the time.
Thank you for having me.
तो हम इत्तेफाक से आप ही के घर में बैठे हैं और उसी मेज़ पे जहाँ हम रोज़ सहरियाँ करते करते गप्पे हाँक रहे होते हैं तो होते रहे हैं. अब तो रोज़े ख़त्म हो गए, तो अब मेरे जाने के कुछ दिन आ गए हैं, लेकिन मेरा बहुत दिल था कि मैं आपको अपने पॉडकास्ट पे करूं और मुझसे ज़्यादा मेरे फॉलोअर्स का दिल था. तो वी ऑल वांट टू नो अनदर साइड ऑफ यू. एक्चुअली इवन आई डोंट नो क्वाइट अ फ्यू थिंग्स अबाउट यू, और वो हम अब पता चलेगा. स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम मैंने कहा कि ये है कि आपके चाइल्डहुड और वी गो इनटू योर 4 decades ऑफ लाइफ. अभी आप 40 के नहीं हुए, यू आर 39.
I'll be 40 this year. So
Inshallah,
it's
inshallah.
39 right now.
बिल्कुल, अल्लाह बहुत लंबी और खूबसूरत और सेहत वाली ज़िंदगी करे. तो we are going to talk about the 4 decades of life. Let's start with your first decade.
Well, honestly speaking, the first decade is a little bit of a blur. Because I doubt any one of us know what we were doing when we were like less than a year old. So yeah.
Yeah, but 5 years old,
Yeah.
6 years old.
So what I can remember is that my dad was in the Air Force, as you might know. And during my first decade, we spent about 2-3 years in Saudi Arabia. So the only thing that I do recall a little bit is that me getting a prize at school and my father taking me to Toys R Us, or at that time it was Toyland or something like that, and got me my first like kids computer. That was really exciting for me. After that, I think after Saudi Arabia, we went to Chakulala, which is Pindi, and then after that we went to Shorecoat, which is Rafiki Kent. And I had the opportunity to serve in the same base that my dad served, so
Wow.
that was great. Afterward, but that's I think the third decade. Third.
ठीक है, we go back and forth.
Yeah. So what I did is that during that time I used to just hang out with friends more or less. We had to change schools a lot of times, so I made new friends wherever I went. And I was like making friends, but I was never that friendly in a way. Let's put it that way, that I wasn't as friendly as I am now.
You were an extrovert since the time I met you.
Which was probably in my 20s.
Yeah.
So during my 10s and during my teens, I wasn't that much. Then I think what happened to me is that when we moved to Islamabad, and it was a different culture from basically like from small bases all across the globe. So Islamabad was more developed, more forward-thinking, forward-looking. And I decided that, maybe it's time to change. And my dad was a big part of that. When he told me, yeah, we're moving to Islamabad and everything, I said, okay. I thought it was just another base, like just a small base, but it wasn't. It was a big setup, and there are people from forces background, civil background, going and working at the same, going at the same school. So I met a lot of people, and at that time I started opening to the fact that, yeah, like I can have friends from all places. So that's what I did. During Islamabad, I made a number of friends. And
Including Natalia.
including Natalia, your daughter.
Yeah.
Like she was one of my very close friends.
And your
Still
class fellow.
Yes, she was my classmate too. And there were others as well. But then after I wanted to be in the same field as my dad. So my dad was an aeronautical engineer, so I wanted to be one. So I joined the Air Force Academy.
So we have already entered your second decade of life.
Yes. Like most of the childhood, teenager time. I wasn't very athletic.
But you are into sports.
I am now. I am now. I wasn't that time. I wasn't into running. I just used to cycle from one point to another point. That's it. I wasn't that much into sporting activities. Basketball, one thing that I really wanted to do growing up. But when I joined the academy, you were kind of like forced to play different sports. And then I found my passion for basketball, for running. And what I realized in running is that I used to run. I thought that if you walk fast, you would convert it into a run. But that was it's different for different people, because I realized later on in life that I am a front foot strike runner, not a rear foot strike runner. That basically changed myself. So now I can run like 5K without any problems. So yeah, but that happened afterwards. So when I was in my 20s, then I basically was in my academy, like late teens. At that time, after the 4 years of academy training, I graduated with an aeronautical engineering degree, and then I joined Air Weapons Complex, where I actually met your husband at the time. So yeah.
But I think my husband and I have been meeting you even before that. I think when we will be just going back to Haaris's life. We'll take a little break. In that time, you can like and subscribe and have your cup of coffee, but come back quickly. And it's a pleasure to meet you, Nadia, and I welcome you to my podcast.
हमारा चाइल्डहुड, क्योंकि हम एक एयरफोर्स फैमिली हैं, हम एक जगह पे नहीं थे, तो वी वर कॉन्स्टेंटली मूविंग. मम्मा तो किसी हॉस्पिटल को फ़ोन भी करती थी, तो आगे वो कहते थे आप वही है ना जिनकी बेटी अपनी उंगलियां तोड़ी होती है हर वक्त.
और आप लोग वैसे विजिटिंग टीम थे, तो आपके उधर के स्टूडेंट्स ने कहा था कि
हमें कोई इनविटेशन दी कि कोई इधर पार्टी हो रही है.
हाँ,
तो वो ना जान के मुझे ह्यूज बॉक्सेस देती थी और कि ये पूरा स्टॉक रूम वहाँ मूव करो, और मैं उसको देख रही होती थी कि उसको पता है मेरे बाजू का साइज, मैं कैसे करूँगी. नानी की फैमिली वापस इंग्लैंड चली गई थी, नानी के हस्बैंड आर्मी में थे, तो ओवर टाइम लेटर्स वगैरह ख़त्म हो गए थे, तो वो शी कम्प्लीटली लॉस्ट कॉन्टैक्ट विद ऑल हर रिलेटिव्स. बट वंस यू वर गॉन, आई रिमेंबर द फेयर कि मैं अब क्या करूँ, एक ह्यूमन बीइंग मेरे हाथ में है एंड आई हैव नो क्लू कि मैंने इसका ख्याल कैसे रखना है.
this is the mystery of life, and this is the beauty of life. Welcome back. Have you had your cup of coffee? Have you subscribed to the channel? Let's get on with our wonderful content. And our guest today is Haaris Jalal. He is also my son-in-law, but that's a second thing. The main thing is that he is a very interesting personality, very highly accomplished. And I'd like us to, see what his life is all about. कहाँ से इनका सफ़र शुरू हुआ, कहाँ पे अभी पहुँचा हुआ है, और आगे कहाँ तक जाने के इरादे हैं. तो हारिस के हम फर्स्ट डिकेड ऑफ लाइफ के ऊपर हम बात करते रहे, फ्रॉम 0 to 10 के ऊपर बात हुई. फिर अब हम टीनेजर्स में बात कर रहे हैं. अराउंड 18 ईयर्स के थे जब आप अकेडमी में दाखिल हुए. और अकेडमी किस लिए ज्वाइन की थी, कौन सी अकेडमी थी?
So it was the Pakistan Air Force Academy that I joined, and I joined in the engineering field. So,
and you joined as a civilian?
I joined as a civilian, yes. But I joined as a civilian, but we were going through all the training.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to go into details on कैसी training थी and everything, because it changes over time. But after joining the academy, during those 4 years, I I became a lot more sportsman. So I was already into swimming, and I was already into riding. I knew all of that stuff, but I wasn't like actively participating in stuff. But when I joined the academy, then I was into running. I was into not that much into running, but I was into swimming. I was into basketball. I was into horseback riding and all of that stuff. And that was it. It was great, honestly speaking. And then we had training, and I graduated in like 2001. And once I graduated, after that, no, not 2001, 2005. Sorry about that. I graduated in 2005. And after that, I joined AWC, where basically I was serving under your husband at the time. So, yeah. That was one of the times I do remember. But once I joined Air Weapons Complex, this is like in my early 20s, because I was a graduate from the Air Force Academy, I was stationed on different bases of Pakistan Air Force as a civilian who was doing multi-million projects on different aviation systems. So I did that thing for 4 or 5 years, but I really wanted to go for higher studies at the time. So there in 2009, this was when I was about 26 years old, I went to University of Manchester to do my master's.
So you went to Manchester from AWC, but you had to give up your job for that.
No, I took a sabbatical.
You leave?
I took a sabbatical. Yeah.
Okay.
I took a sabbatical, and I went there. I did my master's, loved the time I spent over there, made tons
What
of
did you
friends.
study there?
I studied master's in sensors and electronic instrumentation systems.
So who was funding it? I'm sure it must be very expensive.
No, me and my mom were funding it.
Mashallah.
Basically, what I did was I saved all the money that I made. I was hoping to buy a car, but then I said I'll put that in my master's. So I saved all the money that I made in 4 years or 5 years, and then
Put it into your
master's.
So you invested in your future.
Yes.
And before that, we have missed out a chapter in your life where you lost your father. Group Captain Jalal was a very brilliant officer in the Pakistan Air Force. And he became a heart patient. And he lost his life when you were...
I was 18. I
18 years
had
old.
just joined the academy at the time. And so he passed away when I was home. And my sister was really young at that time, but
Your sister was in metric. She was
she
studying.
wasn't
She was in
matriculation
exams.
at that time. Yeah.
Yes. And I remember she went ahead with her exams in spite of the big tragedy which took place in your home. Within days of it, she had gone for the exam. I remember I was there in Islamabad. I went to your mother, Rumi, and I was very, very impressed by, how focused she was in spite of all the tragedy that had taken place. And then you all moved house to Lahore.
I was in the academy, so I went back.
Academy was in which number?
In Risapur. So I was there. I was a boarding student over there.
Right.
Mom, on the other hand, she and my sister, they moved to Lahore.
So it was a major,
It was a major change in my life.
major.
It was a major change in our
Yes.
lives. So,
And you became the man in your house, you
yeah, but I wasn't in the house.
man out of the house.
Yeah.
Right.
So after that, I joined AWC, went for a master's, came back, and I decided that I wanted to pursue further education and further things. So I decided to leave AWC at the time.
So what was your degree in Manchester?
Master's in Sensors and Electronic Instrumentation Systems. It's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful.
Yeah.
Can you repeat it?
It's sensors and instrumentation. Let's put it that way.
So it's what? Electronics?
It's electronics engineering.
Electronics engineering.
Yeah, it's a specialized field in electronics engineering that focus on tomographic and Hall sensors, including micro electromechanical systems.
How did you choose this subject?
I just wanted to do it.
And you had already decided when you were here in Pakistan?
Yep, that I wanted to do in sensors. I didn't want to do in communications. I wanted to do in sensing systems.
Oh, great. So you have always been a very forward-looking, forward-thinking personality. Halaki AWC itself is a very, used to be a very forward-thinking place to be in. But you were even more forward-thinking and you were looking into what's coming in the future.
Yep.
So that's brilliant. Previously, you had an avionics degree, and then you got into sensors, right? Okay. Then what? Now you are how old once you graduated
So when I
from
graduated,
Manchester?
27, 28.
27, 28, right.
At that time, I came back and decided that I wanted to leave the organization. So I left the organization, but I did struggle a little bit, quite a bit, in getting another opportunity. So I decided to, based on what was there in the civil life, I decided to pursue a degree in management. So I joined LUMS and as an MBA student, graduated from LUMS in 2014. And during that time, I also met your daughter, not in LUMS, but outside of LUMS. I joined, after graduating from LUMS, I joined ICI, but I wasn't ICI Soda Ash, which is in Kyoto, as an instrumentation engineer. Still nothing to do with my MBA. And during that time, I had decided that I wanted to do something which is more practical and which is in demand. So I decided to go into machine learning and AI because I was already an engineer by profession. I already knew MATLAB and LabVIEW and different plethora of softwares. So I decided to do small nano degrees. So I did it in machine learning engineering. I did it in front-end programming with Python.
From where? From where?
Online courses from Udacity, from Coursera, from Simplilearn.
Coursera, you did that.
Coursera as well, from Simplilearn, Big Data Analytics. I ended up doing Squirrel certification, which is groundbreaking in augmented technologies. I ended up doing Microsoft certification as well. But yeah, I started with
How long were each one of these certifications?
I don't even remember.
Time-wise? You were just doing it along with your job.
Yes,
So that was in ICI.
that was in ICI. And so once I did a few of them, I got a job in Lahore for a startup, which is a predictive analytics manager. So I did that for 2 years. But in the meantime, I always felt like I was a fish out of water back home. So I did apply for Canada because there was a huge big data requirement here as well at the time. So I got in, and then we came here. I also got married before that. So in between somewhere I got married, in 2015. But then I came here in 2018, worked, and this was in my 30s. Then in 2018, I got a job at a place called IQVIA, which is a pharmaceutical company. And I worked there as a data scientist. And now I am working as a lead data engineer in a company called Access Capital.
So you're in your second job here?
I'm a second job in Canada, yeah.
Right.
And that's more or less it. Regarding other activities that I do, I'm of the opinion of not having to rust, not exactly that word, but I want to keep myself alive and keep myself up to date with all the new things that are there in my field. So I try to keep learning more courses, keep doing more things. So yeah, it's a never-ending struggle.
By all this, you must be thinking that Haaris is just a person who just sits at the desk and he just works and works and works. There's another side to him, which we are going to find out soon after this break. So, welcome back, and we are going to find out another aspect about Haaris Jalal. He's not just a person who is into books and courses and studies, which is there, definitely, he's very brilliant and all that, but the other side to him is that he is a real sports person. And as we found out in the academy, he found out that he was doing riding, basketball, and doing a lot of sports. So here, let's find out, what are your favorite sports these days?
Yeah, so these days I actually cycle a lot. In summers, I ride my bike to work. I have a road bike, so it takes me about 29 to 31 minutes riding 11 kilometers one way. So I do that in the morning and in the evening. I also play volleyball with my friends. And
Once a week?
once a week, and in summer I play beach volleyball. Other than that, there is a sport here in Canada called Ultimate Frisbee. It's basically 5-a-side or 7-a-side frisbee throwing, and it involves a lot of running because once you grab the frisbee, then you cannot run. So you have to run to grab it first. Other than that, I do swimming and I do running. I'm actually running the marathon this year,
Which is
which is technically 26 miles.
26 miles.
Yeah, but I'm doing the relay in it. Kind of like they do a Blue Nose Marathon every year here in Halifax.
Uh-huh.
So I do that a lot. I'm training for that. So I run 5K every morning.
5K, which
Every
is
morning.
5 kilometers, Haaris runs every morning.
Yeah.
It has taken a break due to the Ramzan when he was fasting. So now after Ramzan.
Yeah, I plan to start it up again. Just that you get used to not running it early in the morning, so
It's hard to break.
it's hard to break that
Yeah.
bad habit. But yeah,
And then I know that you also help a lot in the housework with your wife, which is not a quality of many men around here or wherever, especially not Pakistanis. So he is among one of those rare ones who helps his wife and his child a lot. अभी भी जब हम नादिया का इंटरव्यू कर रहे थे तो हारिस ने नायरा का ख्याल रखा हुआ था. So he's a very good dad. So actually what I wanted to ask you about was the seasons in Canada.
Canadian seasons. Well, you have regular 4 seasons.
Yeah.
When it's almost winter, then it's winter, then it's still winter, and then it's construction. So you have 4 seasons, right? But yeah, it's mostly the summer you get is just 2 or 3 months, depending on where you're living. But in most of the provinces, except for a couple of very expensive provinces, most of the provinces is mostly winter.
Yes.
And when it's not snowing, they're building things. So,
So how are your first 5 winters in Canada?
oh, I love winters.
It was
love it.
minus 41.
I love winters. I love going out in winters. Because I really like jackets for some reason and hoodies and everything. And I'm a huge anime fan as well. So I have those collectibles. When I say collectible, I mean jackets and their hoodies and stuff like that. So I really like that. And I really like winters because you get to experience some of the things that you can normally not experience, like sledding and skating and skiing. I haven't tried skiing, but I do plan to try it
Skiing.
at least once in my life. Yeah.
Are there enough slopes here?
Oh, there are plenty of slopes.
I see. So you are going to try skiing.
I want to try skiing. Yes.
Okay. What about ankle fractures, which usually happen with that?
Bones heal.
Most heal.
Bones heal. So
You, when we were having a conversation, you were saying, I believe in struggle. And I think that's a very unique characteristic to, to value struggle in one's life.
everyone is different. For some people, having a secure, relaxed place that they can live, they can work, that's fine. Completely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people are happy with minimalistic things. Some people are not. With me, I want to yearn to be more what I am right now. Like, for example, if I don't make an effort to grow myself, I cannot ask anyone else to grow with me. I cannot force them or anything like that to grow with me. So that's why I say, and plus, it's always the journey. It's not the destination that basically excites you, according to me. For some people who are, living in a place where they say, I have everything, I don't want anything else, I'm happy. Sure, that's their life. That's not mine. If I was like that, I would have just graduated once and then worked in a small job, just relaxing, just gonna stay there. But I'm not like that, which is why I actually wanted to go into different fields. I moved into AI and ML because that was the end thing at that time. Right now, the end thing is cybersecurity, so I might look into that as
Cybersecurity.
I might look into that as well and when I came to Canada, one of the reasons was, all right, so my destination at that time was Canada. After that, my destination in Canada was getting a better opportunity in Canada. So I got that and that and that. So now every time I've tried to reach something or I reach something, I try for something new. And that's what I do. That's how I am. That's how I'm built.
Can we call it a challenge? You love challenges?
I love challenges. Yes, you're right. I love challenges.
Not just struggle, it's also, struggle is part of it, but challenge is what excites you.
Yep, it does. If you ask me to do something that I don't know nothing about, I'll enjoy doing that versus doing something that I've done about 1,000,000 times. So I said, you have to do it like this and that should be done. So
When we look back at your life, like you had engineering background, avionics and everything, then you merged it with management, which is considered to be the ultimate combination, engineering and business management. You had that beautiful combination. Then you went on to sensors and more. You went into data analysis.
data science.
Data science. Now
data management.
artificial intelligence
Yes.
and cybersecurity.
I haven't been into cybersecurity yet. I'm thinking of going into cybersecurity, but I'm currently into AI and ML.
Yeah. Somebody I know in Pakistan has recently gone to UK to study more about cybersecurity, though he was already having a degree in similar to that. But he's gone for, higher level of studies in that. Cybersecurity is definitely the need of the times, and we all need that. Every human being needs that because we all are connected with laptops and for mobile phones, and of course it goes into for organizations and security, affiliated organizations. It is even more important. So I think there is no limit to how valuable that side will be. So you are happy with how you are going, and you like reading books also. I know that.
Yeah, my wife actually gifted me a Kobo, and the good thing about here is that you can actually borrow Kobo books from the library. It's kind of like Kindle if they don't know Kobo. You can borrow them from the library, and you borrow them for 2 weeks, and at the end of 2 weeks they're automatically returned, so you don't have to worry about going and returning them. But yeah, it's a good pastime. And what I realize is that when Nadia and I both are reading or on a Kobo, our daughter doesn't want to watch anything. She wants to read a book as well. So it's great. Yeah, it's great. So
she's a big reader, and I do know this that when she was born in Canada, when she was leaving the hospital, the little 6-pounder was presented with a bag of books.
Yes.
From the hospital. And I think I'm looking out for the day in Pakistan when a bag of books will be gifted to an infant who is leaving the hospital. Because I think we cannot stop dreaming, and we have to have some dreams which take us into the brighter and stronger and more developed future. So let's talk about your life in Canada. But more important than that is the thing that if somebody is immigrating, whether it's to Canada, America, Europe, any place, what is your advice to an immigrant?
So being a first-generation immigrant myself, I did a lot of research before coming here. I read about the thing, and then I had the opportunity to actually go abroad and do my master's from the UK. So my basic advice is to try to get yourself involved in their culture/activities, which they actually do. So, for example, I'm not saying that you should go and do bad things with them, like drinking alcohol. I'm not saying any of that thing. What I am saying is that learn how do they behave with other people. Learn how they respect different cultures and different things. So that's my advice to everyone. Try to meet them firsthand, right? Don't think that, oh, I'm here, I'm going to do this thing and only this thing. No. For me, that thing is a no-no. You'll never be able to, you might be able to succeed in life going that way. But in my opinion, the more you indulge in their activities and like making friends, networking, talking to them, ask them to come over, promote your own culture, ask them to come over to your house. Nobody's just stopping you from asking them to come over to your house for a cup of coffee and talk. That's what people don't do, right? So they need to learn that it's okay to meet people from different backgrounds. You can be yourself, they can be themselves, but you can be some good friends. Because of my networking, because I've done that, and now Nadia also does that. So what we used to do is I love meeting people, and at the time Nadia did not like meeting people. So we would go to a networking event, and I would just leave her there. And I would be gone for like 2 hours, and she was like, then she would actually go get the courage and actually go and talk to people. And once she talked to them, we found out that there were so many things that both of us liked, right? And we started doing this back home also. When we used to go to like the northern areas with a tour company, on the way back, we never used to sit beside each other.
Yeah, you are talking about northern areas in Pakistan.
Yeah.
When you went to Kagan, you went
At different places.
Chitral.
Different places.
Yes.
Plenty of places we went.
Yes.
But on the way back, we would never sit next to each other. We would actually sit next to other people, even if it meant asking their spouse to sit with the other person's spouse so that you can actually talk to them.
Yes.
And that basically built friendships. And then when we would meet at home, we would talk about who we met. And that was a really good thing.
Good for you, the couple also.
And everything. And because of my networking, like my habit of meeting people and everything, when I went to Europe trip, I had friends from all over the world. They were settled there. I met everyone, and it was great. It was awesome. And that was my priority. I was going to meet friends. So we met after 12 years. I met one after 17 years. I met a few after 6 years. And it was great. There was a couple who we met here in Halifax. They moved back to England. And I went there, made sure to meet them. And we had lunch together. We went for walks and everything. It was great.
So. Wonderful. And at this time, this is the Europe trip you took. When was this?
It was last year.
Last year.
Yeah.
When Nadia had come to Pakistan? After that.
So Nadia was in Turkey.
Oh, yes.
And then she came back here. And then her best friend, who's Canadian, came to stay with her while I was there in Europe.
Yes. You had already planned your Euro trip. So Nadia found that her Canadian friend's husband was going for some time. So these two made a plan of being together.
Yeah.
And it worked out beautifully for everybody concerned. So this is beautiful. And actually one finds out that how many common features are there between all human beings. Basically, we all want a peaceful life.
Yeah.
We all want to, be family oriented, and we all love to go out and this. And at the same time, as Muslims, we have a bit of a thing that we don't, we are concerned about halal and haram. But that respect you can get anyway from the locals or whoever is over there. There is nothing wrong with,
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm in my opinion, like this is one important thing. Nobody's gonna force you.
Yes. To drink.
To do anything.
Yeah. To take hard drink.
You have the option of saying no.
Yes. And I know you don't drink, and you would never do that. So the thing is that it's all right. You can have friends who are Canadians, and they will not mind. In fact, I know for sure. I know an American family who used to really respect and have regard for people who do not drink, you know. So even though they themselves took hard drinks, but very occasionally it was mostly social drinking. And when the Muslim families were not drinking, they were respecting and they were really liking that. So there's nothing, you are not going to get handicapped in any way by mixing up with the locals wherever they are. Yeah. So that's the thing. And so staying in touch with friends is an important aspect of life. And I always mention this longest research which took place by Harvard students, which took place for over 70 years, in which they followed the lives of certain people, which included some presidents of America also, and very successful businessmen and even unsuccessful people. They just followed the lives of certain people, and then they found out what are the things that make a difference in your quality of life. They found it's not wealth, it isn't even health. It is relationships. It's the relationships. People who have good relationships, they give value and importance to it, and that is what carries you through life to make you a healthier and a happier person. So have you heard about this? Yes.
Yeah, you did mention it to me.
Yes. It's a very well-known one. So the interesting thing is that Haaris Jalal is very anti-social media. And this is why I am even more grateful to you for giving me this time for my YouTube channel and for our podcast. So let me know your opinion about social media.
So I'm not 100% against social media. Like, I'm also on social media where Messenger is concerned, where I can talk with friends and stuff like that. What I really don't like about social media is that people are, I don't know like how many people, but most people are kind of like pushing their own ideology down other people's throats from that platform. You should have a right. Advertisements is basically the right to choose, but you're not supposed to force things down to the people. And the thing is that in this time and age, a human body is not meant to be sitting in front of a screen 24/7. It's meant to go out. It's meant to work. It's meant to plow the field. It's meant to actually go out and do physical exercise, meet people, have a social meeting, eye-to-eye meeting, not through a screen, not through a window. That thing is kind of like disappearing because of social media. I'm not saying that it's disappearing because of phones or smartphones. I have two smartphones, but I also have an Apple Watch, which is why I don't know where my phones are. Because if I need to call someone or text someone, I just use my Apple Watch to do that. That is why I don't like social media, because it is actually taking you away from the things that matter most, which is spending time with your family, which is like, if you've seen like kids wanting their parents' attention, parents are on the phone. That's the biggest problem. And what they're doing on the phone, they're not at work. They're scrolling through reels and stuff like that, which, even though if they're looking at something which might be important, it's not as important as the time spent at that particular time. Sure, you should have a time box. Like, a time box would tell you that, okay, this is my time to spend with my kids. Just spend time with my kids today. This is my time to watch a film or watch a movie. Watch a movie at that time. Don't scroll on your phone while you're watching the movie. Don't do that. Time to work. Just do your work. That is why every time that I've realized that I've wasted time, I'm on social media, watching Instagram reels, which doesn't make any sense, right? Which are stupid, honestly, for the lack of a better word. And like, it's literally makes you feel a lot worse after you've done that. Mm-hmm. But when you throw away that phone and say, I'm going to do something productive, go for a run. People say they don't have time to do anything. Of course you have time. There are 24 hours in a day. Okay? You sleep 8 hours, 7 to 8 hours. You still have about 16 hours left. In 16 hours, you work 8 hours. You work 8 hours. Still have 8 hours left.
Yeah.
And in those 8 hours, you're going to spend on social media. That for me is a no-no, which is why I'm very much against it. Sure, you can use social media to promote your business or anything like that, but don't make a part of your life. Use it for promotion. If you want to use it use it for promotion. Don't use it to indulge in other people's activities. That's something that I don't like.
Yes. Excellent. Very
Then people start commenting on your things. Like, sure, I like cooking. All right, I make food. I made lamb roast the other day, and
You made risotto?
I made risotto. If I put that thing on social media, I'm not influencing people, right? I'm not telling them to do this. It's just something that I did, and my friends want to know what I did, so they saw it. But if I'm gonna tell them, no, you should walk like this, or talk like this, or talk like that. That's better. This is the new fad. That's all crap.
Right. So there was an example you were giving of a Chinese example against social media, basically.
Yeah, so there's a very good, and you should YouTube that trailer as well. So the trailer is, they're showing this in schools, that there is a person who is given an option of either choosing a phone or a book. She chooses phone first, and then the trailer goes through her journey of how the phone trumps everything else. So in the end, she doesn't graduate, she doesn't do anything, like everything goes away, and her life is down the dumps. And then they do a repetition of that. They say, okay, what if the girl had chosen a book? And then she went on to become a PhD, a doctor, something, and she got highly paid. Like, social media will always be there, unless somebody comes and hacks the entire platform. That's a different thing altogether. But yeah. But social media will be there, right? It's going to be there till after you go from this world. What you need to do right now.
And would this be your message, or you have another message for my viewers?
Well, my message is, take life as it comes. I started planning I was thinking I would always be an engineer throughout my life. I ended up doing 3 degrees, multiple certification, multiple nano degrees. But I found what I want to do, and I'm sticking to it.
You're sticking to it?
I'm sticking to it. I love machine learning. I love AI. I actually enjoy doing this. And I like to meet friends. I like to keep meeting people, and I like to remain healthy. So I'm doing all that. And if anyone says I don't have time to do all of that stuff, you can make time. Yes. Nobody's stopping you from waking at 6 a.m. to go for a run, come back, take a shower, and then go to work. Nobody's stopping you to do that.
Very good. Excellent. Really wonderful. Thank you so much, Haaris, for taking out the time and for doing the babysitting. So your wife could have her interview. Otherwise, it wasn't possible. So God bless you. And I'm sure the viewers must have enjoyed this interview as much as I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.